Hello and welcome to The Prodigy. My name is Abhishek Saxena and I am here to take a session on current affairs. So, this session is all about what is current affairs, what are the broad contours of it, and why it is very crucial to the civil services examination. So I am often encountered with questions like कि sir current affairs कैसे पढ़ें, how to deal with them. It is such a vast area. It does not have any defined boundaries to it. But in reality, if we analyze them, we do have certain contours of it. We do have certain boundaries. We do have certain ways to deal with them. So in this very session and in the subsequent sessions, we will deal about how to handle current affairs, why they are so central to the civil services examination. When I say current affairs is very central to the UPSC examination, especially the civil services examination, by that I mean that civil services is a thread which basically binds the entire value chain of this examination, which is all pervasive, which is present in every stage, whether it is the preliminary examination, whether it is the mains examination, or whether it is the personality test. Current affairs is one theme which runs across. I would not even shy from saying that current affairs is the lifeblood of this very examination. Why I say so? If you will observe, of late in last few years, the role of current affairs has increased dramatically in this examination. Earlier, the role of current affairs was very limited, and a large chunk of questions used to be asked from the static portion or the traditional areas like your polity, geography, history, environment, economy, etc. But now increasingly UPSC has blended these current affairs with the traditional area. So there is often not watertight separation between what is traditional areas and how the questions will be asked from the current affairs. So while dealing with current affairs, we need to remember that we need not only deal with the focus of current affairs. Like, for example, if there is a news about one rating agency, let us say Standards and Poor, right? So there might be other rating agencies which might not be in news, or which might not have come under your lens about its various findings, but they also become important. Some geographical location, if that location is being talked about in the context of some temple or some cultural significance, that does not mean something else could not be asked. For example, that location might have a GI tag to it, right? So we, while dealing with current affairs, need not only focus on the main thing but around it as well. That is, while handling current affairs, especially for this examination, we need to keep the focus as well as locus in mind, right? So this session would largely be about the conceptual understanding of how to approach current affairs, what are the broad contours of it, right? So let us begin. So the current affairs, as you can see, I've titled this, it's the elephant in the room. Why I have done so is because most of the time when I talk to various candidates, my students, they are mostly busy in covering the traditional areas, and they often miss the point that current affairs is as much as perhaps more important even than the theoretical knowledge about the traditional areas, because UPSC never asks you questions or rarely asks you questions which are very straightforward, They might do so with a few questions for the sense of to balance the question paper, but more often than not, a current affairs orientation is required to answer a question. In prelims, the story is a bit different. In mains, it is a bit, on the other side. So during this, we'll talk about how during the various stages the current affairs basically, transform themselves as a challenge to a candidate. So my advice to students would be that please see this elephant in the room and have a balanced approach while dealing with the traditional areas as well as with the current affairs, so that you don't miss this elephant, right? So today's session, as I talked about in the introduction, would be about the relevance of the current affairs in the UPSC exam and the major sources which we should keep a tab on, right, to deal with this very, very crucial area in the preparation. So why they are the core of the examination? In the introduction, I told you that current affairs is something which is all pervasive when it comes to the examination, right? To explain further, if you will observe the pattern in the last few years, a substantial chunk, 30 to 35% chunk of the question paper in prelims is from the current affairs. Something, some event, either the focus or the locus, as I explained in the introduction, is asked. So you cannot simply ignore this area, because even if we keep the importance of current affairs at with a conservative estimate of 30%, with 60% you cannot be sure shot that you will be able to attempt all the 60% rest of the 60% questions, right? And even if by some chance, which is like very, very rare, if you'll clear the prelims, you'll not be able to perform in the mains, because in the mains examination, the whole idea is to express yourself. The whole idea is to analyze the situation which is given by a question, right? And for that, merely a bookish or a verbose knowledge would not be of any use. It will not add any value to your answer, right? So that is why current affairs are very, very central. And God forbid, by any margin, you somehow cross the mains as well. In the personality test, when your acumen will be judged on your opinions about issues, about some events, and if you are not well versed with the idea, then how you will be able to come across as a genuine person who has an intellect or a brain of his own or her own, right? So that is why current affairs lies at the core of the civil service examination. As I explained earlier, it is the thread which binds the entire examination, right? So let us look at some of the technical aspects of why current affairs is very, very crucial. So as you can see on your screen, that there is a grab of preliminary syllabus, the first few lines. So the very first line says current events of national and international importance, right? So UPSC is very, very explicit when it says so. This is not something which is a hidden area, right? Which is an area which is blurred or not defined. It says current events of national and international importance. By that I mean that this is a government exam and one aspires to be amongst the creme de la creme of the government machinery, right? So they want the candidates to be aware about what is happening nationally across the landscape, social, economic, cultural, etc., as well as the international arena which is relevant to India, right? Similarly, you will find that in the mains examination as well, especially with regards to general studies, and the contingency on current affairs with regards to optionals is also cannot be undermined. But specifically with regards to general studies, if you look at paper 1 of general studies, that is Indian heritage, culture, history, geography of the world and society. So it involves a lot of things. For example, your topics related to geography, some recent cyclone, right? For example, this Amphan is there, right? So some recent cyclone, some recent phenomena, some earthquake, something which is there in the news, right? So when it talks about social empowerment, right, effects of globalization, so it is all which is related to current affairs. For example, rise of xenophobia in Europe, etc., etc. So until and unless you are not aware of this, you are not aware of those intricacies, you have not understood the details of what is it all about, how it is developing, what can be the possible consequences if the question challenges you to take a view on it, right? Then how you can take a view on it if you and aware of the issue, and even if you are aware and you have not understood. So it is not merely about being aware कि अच्छा ठीक है ये हुआ, it is about ये हुआ तो इसके पीछे क्या कारण थे, what were the reasons, what can be the possible extrapolation of this activities, obviously with some logical underpinning, not something without logic, right? Similarly in paper 2, governance, constitution, polity, some new bill is there, some new act is there, some new policy is there, public welfare measure is there, social sector schemes, etc., etc. For all that you need current affairs, right? Similarly, in the next paper, technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, disaster management. Right now, COVID situation is there, right? One cyclone just passed this week in Bengal. So how you will be able to negotiate all these things if you are not aware, if you are not well versed with the current affairs, right? So these were about the traditional areas. Some people say, okay, ethics में current affairs का क्या काम? But still, questions can be about ethical dilemmas. For example, there is a migrant crisis going on right now. So some ethical underpinning might be asked, some ethical dilemma might be asked, or a case study might be given around it. So if you have not understood the situation, how you will be able to do justice to the question? Right? I will tell you, in fact, in the preliminary examination as well, not just the GS section, even your CSAT section holds importance for the current affairs. Right? A lot of you might be surprised by this statement. But the truth is, if you will analyze the various comprehension problems which are asked, जिसे हम देसी लिंगों में unseen passage भी बोलते हैं, ठीक है? So those things are generally some news reports, some ideas. So if you are well aware or acquainted with the flow, they will help you in better and faster deciphering or comprehending those passages, right? So current affairs is central to prelims as well as mains, okay, and at the same time in the interview as well. So those were the these were the technical aspects. Now moving on to the practical aspects, right? As I told you earlier, government needs aware candidates who are aware about its various dimensions, various organs, various functions, executive, legislature, judiciary, its societal obligations, its social obligations, its cultural obligations, etc., political, economical, across all domains. Basically to understand it in a simplified manner, we can say कि जितने हमारे subjects हैं GS में, polity, economy, history, geography, etc., etc., उन सब की एक thread current affairs के लिए निकलती है. There is always one dimension which is current affairs. Even in history, for example, there is some anniversary, right? For example, there is a historical place which is being talked about. So that is also related, right? And as the syllabus says, it is not just about the national events. It is also about the international events which are important to India. For example, some conventions, committees, international organizations, India's foreign relations, even to the extent of space cooperation, defense cooperation, etc. Right. Now let us look at the functional aspects. Here CA stands for current affairs. Right. So as we discussed, that the emphasis on current affairs has increased over time. Right, UPSC wants more aware candidates. UPSC wants more lively candidates who are not just stuck with the bookish reality, who have a brain of their own, who can analyze issues on merits, so that in the end, basically, they can become an independent and responsible administrator or bureaucrats. Okay. As I told you, the locus approach, even from the current, traditional areas, the questions are rooted to current affairs. For example, there might be some question which is, let us say, fundamental rights is a very, very traditional area. But with regards to right to information or right to privacy, some fundamental right, you can be thrown with a challenge to explore that fundamental right in the light of these new emerging with regards to governance. Right? Questions are basically analytical, which demand your view, which demand you to critically analyze things, which demand you to elucidate, which demand you to explore some possibilities or give them some logical extrapolation. Right? So that analytical approach is needed, and that cannot, I repeat, and that cannot be developed just by books. So you need a holistic understanding of current affairs. Okay. And interaction, since personality test is an interaction with a panel. So it is, they won't ask you ki, there are how many fundamental rights, how many DPSPs are there, right? Or how many form of plate boundary interaction is there? No, they won't ask. They might ask some static questions, but it is largely a freewheeling chat with obviously certain decorums to be maintained, which provoke your thought process. At times during the personality test, there might be questions related to your gender, your religion, your caste, to deliberately provoke you and see your reaction. Right? So if you have a good knowledge of current affairs, you can back your stance with solid evidence. Right? Now, what are the trust areas when we talk about largely, which we can easily identify? So first, for the prelims examination, I need not emphasize that programs, policies, schemes, these are very, very important. Some isolated scheme might be asked. Matritva Vanda Yojana, right? Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Like, it was very much in news. The scheme is old, but the recent, some of the relief measures were given under this due to the COVID situation. Some organizations, NGOs or reports, both domestic as well as international. For example, Amnesty International is an NGO, right? Some report by United Nations Development Program, or by some body like World Economic Forum, or some domestic bodies and NGOs, right? At the same time, various conventions, conference of parties, summits, right? Some issue, like for example, in the last UNGA, Prime Minister was at the United Nations and he talked a lot about environment. So that makes that summit important, right? At the same time, indices, both domestic and international, like Swachh Bharat Index is there, Cleanliness, National Cleanliness Index is there, right? Or World Hunger Index is there. Okay. Laws, bills, tribunals, very, very traditional areas of polity, but you need to keep a tab on them. So you need not just the traditional sources, but at times, if you need to dig a bit deeper, you will require things like PRS, legislative research, etc. Okay. Then the next highlight would be locations. Some question related to some location, that this temple is there or this festival is celebrated there, right? Or this meeting was held there, or the headquarter of National Solar Alliance is in near Delhi, Gurgaon, right? So some sort of that. Some areas which have gained importance in the last few years, those be defense and security, right? Be it the questions on missiles, acquisitions, or right now the recently the post of Chief of Defense Staff was created, CDS. So this was at the back of one committee, right? So there were 2-3 committees in the news. So I won't answer that as of now. For example, there was Shekhetkar committee in the news related to defense, right? So all those committees, not just related to defense, but in general as well, you need to keep in mind. Space, obviously, the satellites, the GSLV, PSLV, which satellite did what. They can, confuse you in the examination with some statements and giving error in another statement. For example, in actual, the satellite launched the 3 satellites were launched via that particular space flight, and they will give you 4, just to confuse you whether this is right or wrong. Okay, some international relations, some major accord is signed. For example, a few years back, India and Bangladesh signed, finally resolved the issue of exchange of enclaves. Okay, so all these areas are important, and you need to keep a tab on them, because in the prelims examination, you'll be encountered with facts and misfacts. By misfacts, I don't mean that she is a female fact. It is about facts which are not facts, right? Or tweaked, like I gave the example of satellite, that in actual practice 3 satellites were launched, and in the examination the question paper mentions the 4. So you'll have to identify the wrong statement or the right statement, wherever and as and when the case may be. So with this, I want to just emphasize that this list is not very, very exhaustive, but it largely covers some of the very, very pertinent areas from which the questions are asked, and UPSC has a penchant of asking questions from these areas. Now coming to mains. Mains is prelims plus analysis. See, the UPSC has divided this whole enterprise of civil service examination into 3 parts, or for the sake of administrative and logical convenience. But this is one exam. This is the civil services exam. It has 3 stages. Okay, but the current affairs will remain relevant across these stages. Right, it is just the manifestation of current affairs which is used in the various stages which differs. But for the sake of our preparation, we need to keep a holistic thing in mind. We need to remember facts and we need to remember analysis, because you really cannot divorce those facts and analysis. Newspapers, the other sources, magazines, etc. won't give you a divorce or segregated stuff. Right, or not you should read that, even if some odd notes of some institute provide you some segregated stuff. No, that is not recommended. Why? Because ultimately it is the holistic reality which is important, and if you'll remember the thing in totality, then only you will be able to mark your questions in the correct manner. Otherwise you'll be confused कि ऐसा तो नहीं था या वैसा तो नहीं था. At times, some readings of current affairs might give you some indirect references. For example, some analysis might quote some fact as a base, right, which might not be in the news recently, but they have quoted it, and that fact can be put to use in the examination. Right, so this is how you need to do current affairs. With regards to mains specifically, as I discussed earlier, it is about analysis. It is about how you perceive things. It is about when a question challenges you with a situation, that what is your take on this? What do you think about it? Explain it. Critically analyze it. Analyze it. then how will you do it? Because books are dated in the sense that books get printed and then they are not revised for some time at least. And they are very, very theoretical in their approach. They give you theory, but the practice of what is happening on the ground is given by current affairs. For example, there is something related to Manrega, right? So there is something which is given in your governance book related to Manrega. Your favorite institute's notes is also given Manrega, right? And there are facts that, okay, X days of employment, this percent ratio for women, etc. Finito, finish, right? But what is happening on the ground? Are the assets being created? The quality of the assets, etc. If there is some editorial which is backing it with some facts, you can obviously utilize that analysis in your answer to appreciate the scheme or to criticize the scheme, right? So things like that matter a lot. And as most of the people who enter this domain are not very, very well versed with current affairs, at times I get to know that people have started reading newspaper first time when they they have joined or they have taken up the enterprise of civil services. So it is very, very difficult. It is not something which is easy, and at times it requires some expert guidance or hand holding, for which we are here, right? So mains is all about prelims plus analysis. Next, current affairs and personality test. So first things first, it makes you present yourself as an aware and conscious being, that you are a thinking being. You speak what logic dictates, right? You are very, very aware about what are the various things happening around you, whether good or bad, right? At times related to recently prevailing issues. For example, some years back, the issue of mistreatment of women was very, very highlighted due to some unfortunate incidents. So your views might be asked in the personality test. Something related to privacy, net neutrality, diverse topics, right? At the end, it helps you make a reasoned and balanced point in front of the interview panel. So it is very, very essential, right? Moving on. Now many students come to me कि sir क्या पढ़े? What are the various sources? कितने newspaper पढ़े? How many newspapers? So let me just list out first the traditional sources, and then I will elaborate upon it. Right. So newspaper, people say The Hindu पढ़ लो, Indian Express पढ़ लो, right? Some people will say अच्छा magazine भी ले लो, योजना, कुरुक्षेत्र, EPW, इंडिया टुडे. कुछ लोग ऐसे भी होते हैं जो some people come जैसे कहते हैं झांसे में आ जाते हैं, वो कंपटीशन सक्सेस रिव्यू भी ले लेते हैं, ये भी ले लेते हैं, नए नए होते हैं ना, तो एकदम मतलब हाँ सब ले लो. और अल्टीमेटली होता क्या है, that these things keep on piling. You don't read them. Then you'll eat food on them, and then you'll discard them. Right? And then there are some people, अरे यार पॉडकास्ट सुनते हैं, राज्यसभा टीवी, वाह वाह वाह, ऑल इंडिया रेडियो, ओके. अरे प्रधानमंत्री सीरीज देखी एबीपी की, बहुत बढ़िया बनी थी. अरे उससे ज्यादा अगर आप रामचंद्र गुहा या बिपिन चंद्रा पढ़ लेते तो ज्यादा पता लग जाता आपको डिटेल में, वो बहुत ड्रामेटाइज्ड है. ठीक है. कुछ लोग होते हैं जो पीआईबी लेते हैं, ठीक, इतने सारे सोर्सेज ले लेते हैं, बट पढ़ते कुछ नहीं, और उससे भी कम जो पढ़ते हैं, उससे भी कम वो नोट्स करते हैं या नोट्स बनाते हैं. So I would say limit your sources. Pick one good current affairs booklet from wherever you like. Use it as a supplement. Read one newspaper religiously. Religiously, either of them. And whatever is left over will be supplanted by that very booklet. And making news from newspaper is also an art. Some people tell me that it takes them 2 to 3 hours to read one newspaper. So if I involve 6 hours of sleeping and a few hours of your usual human chores, food, etc., right, and 3 hours of newspaper reading, then going, traveling, relaxation, you'll be hardly left with time for anything else. So the idea here is to basically shrink that time which you read on newspapers, which you spend on newspapers, and make it more effective, make it more productive, and not reduce its impact. So I would suggest read one good newspaper and take one or two maximum magazines with regard, and that to official magazines like Yojana and Kurukshetra. Rest will be supplanted by your standard current affairs booklet which is available, right? At the same time, there are some websites which you need to keep a tab on, and for example, the print comes with some very good articles. For example, there's Project Syndicate. For example, there is this PRS legislative research, etc., etc. So they give you the act or the bill in discussion, and they will give you some bullet points about what is good or what is bad about that bill or act. Right? Most of the people, this is the reality, वो newspaper नहीं पढ़ पाते. Right. So for this, we are planning one current affairs program, which might be launched very soon regarding all this, right? So that you can handle, and I will talk about in greater details in the subsequent session. It will not just be like any other, program where you are just called with newspaper and tick, 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 right? As I told you, the right approach is focus plus locus. So we'll try and capture not just focus, but also locus, right? If you will follow one newspaper, one magazine or two magazine at most, right, it is done. But newspaper is essential. I haven't met a person who will say that, okay, I have cleared this examination without reading newspaper. You will have to do it. It might be a pain for you, but you will have to endure this pain. We can lessen this pain with our program which will be coming up, wherein we'll try and squeeze those 3 hours which you spend on daily basis on newspaper to little more than 30, 35, 40 minutes, right? And we'll discuss how we can move further with it. That is in the times to come, of course, because we are restricted by the COVID situation. So you need basically all these tools, but you need not go overboard with it. You have to keep a balance between the traditional areas and the current affairs, and especially the bridge. You'll have to fortify that bridge, as we talk about in this program, Prodigy Fortify. You have to fortify that bridge between the current affairs and the traditional areas, and amalgamate them in a manner, imbibe them in a manner wherein you can come out with creative answers, logical answers, and non-bookish answers. Basically, which seem original, which seem thought out. Okay, and again, this list is not exhaustive, so wait for the next session. More exciting stuff is planned in the sessions ahead. I hope you'll like this video and give your suggestions about what all do you need in current affairs. We'll try and come up with creative programs, not just those mundane programs wherein you are called with the newspaper and tick, 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 it is done. No, it is not. It is about how you perceive current affairs. It is about how you can use current affairs to your advantage to score marks, right? And how you can reduce the effort with maximum, still churning out maximum productivity. So do like, share, subscribe, and give your suggestions. Okay, thank you and all the best. Stay tight, stay put. I know the next announcement is on 5th of June. So the chances are that these things are going to linger for a while. But current affairs is something which you should keep a tab even right now. Devote some time to current affairs, your daily newspaper readings. Otherwise, they will pile up and then you'll be at loss of options that अब मैं ये कैसे खत्म करूं, ट्रेडिशनल पढ़ूं या ये पढ़ूं. So better है कि रोज daily will have to tick some of the boxes daily with regards to current affairs. Okay, take care, bye bye, have a great time.